Hi, I'm Jason Helmick, PM on the PowerShell team, and I wanted to show you the new error view in PowerShell 7. Basically, it's the new way we display errors to improve comprehension. But first, let's start in Windows PowerShell 5.1 so we can get an example of how it used to look. And so if I do something like get child item, and I'm going to put in the path, and I'm going to put in a path that doesn't exist, so nowhere. You can see I get a great error message on the screen, an error message we've had for the last 13 years, and there's a lot of great information here. The challenge is in comprehending all of this. First of all, it's all red on the screen, and so everything kind of blends together. Another challenge is, well, I'll just run a script. So I've got a script that I've got some errors, and when I run a script and it has multiple errors, then it fills my screen with this. Now the challenge is to work through this, very difficult to read it, and to find the information that I'm looking for. So what we decided to do was to improve these views so that it was easier for you to see what was going on. Now, just to let you know, you could control the view that you have in Windows PowerShell 5.1. It's with a preference variable called error view. And you can see right now it's set to normal view. We actually had two views, normal view and category view. Category view, I think the only person that uses category view is Jim Truer. Other than that, well, in PowerShell 7, we worked to improve that. So in PowerShell 7, let me clear my screen, and I'm going to do the exact same command, get child item, and I'm going to do path, and we'll do it to a location that doesn't exist. And I'm going to get that error message, but notice I get a much more concise error message. It tells me that get child item couldn't find that path. Very clean, very easy to read. In fact, if I do something like I use the alias GCI and I say, oh, let's spell the parameter wrong, and we'll put it in as C:\nowhere, a place that doesn't exist. What you can see is that it takes that alias, turns it into the actual commandlet name. So you can see it's get child item, and then a parameter cannot be found, in this case, called part. So it tells me exactly, it's very easy to read, very quick when you're working interactively with PowerShell. In fact, if I do something like try to divide by 0, there's no commandlet here, so it's actually in a specific exception, and it tells me it's a runtime exception attempted to divide by 0. Now, I bet you're kind of interested. Well, one other thing is that I've noticed that with what I've typed in, you're only getting an error message that's back on a single line. Now, that isn't always going to be the case. Let me do another one really quick. Let me do invoke command, and I'm going to specify a host name that, well, not online, that doesn't exist. So what we've done is we've improved the error messages by making them concise, but that doesn't mean that they'll be on single lines. It could be on multiple lines if the error is long enough to wrap around and take up multiple lines. Now, one of the things you're probably curious about is what happens when I run a script. Well, it's going to look even different from this because, see, PowerShell knows whether you're working interactively at the shell or if you're running commands from a script. And because of that, we decided to make a difference when you run a script. We want this to be, well, easier for you to both read and comprehend, but also help you visualize where in the code your error came from. So now when I run my script with multiple errors, take a look at this one at the top of the screen. You can see by the display, we've added additional highlight colors, and you can control these for accessibility needs. And you can notice that I give you the line of code that you had in there. You get a squiggly under where it believes the first error occurred and then the error message. Now this helps you visualize where in your code and what your code looks like so that you can see exactly what the error is. Well, it looks like I can't spell the word select. This makes it easier for you to easily jump back into your favorite code editor, which is mine is always VS Code, and you can go in and see your error and find that line of code easier. And matter of fact, let me pull this down so you can see. Here's line 5. I'm going to scroll this guy up. Here's line 5, where I typed in my problem, and see it looks just like it. Helps me find where that error is. So we hope that this helps you with the comprehension and getting back to the problem that you're trying to solve quicker with these new error messages. Now hang on. One very, very important thing. Let me clear the screen here and let me type in a command. Let's just do a divide by 0. You might be saying, but there's more information about this error that I need to see. Now, we had an old way of you doing this. You could use the actual error object, and you could error you wanted. 0 was the latest error that occurred, and if you wanted, you could do something like pipe it to FL star dash force. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and this would give you some additional error information, but you know what? We got a better way today. Get dash error is a commandlet that will give you the last error that occurred on the screen and all of the error details that you might want to see. In this case, you can see I've got an error type. It's a runtime exception, and it's attempted to divide by 0. And we supply you with all of the information. So whether you're IT ops or whether you're a developer, you get all of the information you need, the stack trace down here, including what additional inner exceptions and their messages may have occurred. So there's a lot of information here. Now, if you ran a script and you got 3 errors, well, take a look at the help file for get error, because you can get all 3 of them if you'd like, and take a look at them as they scroll all by here on my screen. So when you get a chance, take a look at the new error view and the new way that we display error messages. I'm just going to do this so you can see it, just so you can see the new way that we do error messages. And we hope that this will help you get faster to your problem and solve your problems quicker on PowerShell 7. And hey, don't forget, help somebody.